So today I'm going to show you how to make a polar bear. So in your kit you had some canvas, paint, you had a thing of clay, you also had some paintbrushes and some gems. So we're going to use all of that to put together this mixed media polar bear. So the first thing you're going to do, in addition to the kit, you're going to need a paper towel, a pencil, and some water nearby. And the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to make our polar bear. To draw our polar bear, it's super simple. All you're going to do is you're going to start at the bottom of the canvas and you're going to make a nice rainbow. It doesn't matter the size of your rainbow, it could be big. You don't want it too small, but it could be bigger. It's all right. The bigger your rainbow, the bigger your polar bear will be. Next, so this is going to be the head of our bear. Next, we're going to put some ears. So I am just going to make little semicircles or like little rainbows to make ears. So I have them right there, and then inside of them I'm going to put little rainbows. And we have to draw one last thing, is towards the bottom you're just going to draw an oval to make his snout. So then in our snout we'll put a nose, above it we'll put two eyes and get all painty. But right now we're going to use our clay, because we're going to use our clay to make our eyes and our nose. So you're going to have to open your clay and you're going to have to work that clay in your hands a little. The more you work it, the easier it's going to be to work with. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes, work with it. So I worked with it for a couple minutes, and now I'm going to come back and I'm going to start with my eyes. So I'm going to pinch off two little pieces and I'm going to make little meatballs for eyes. And I'm just going to put them on the canvas just so I know what they look like. You kind of want two meatballs the same size. If you mess up, you could always put it back again. This one's a little bigger, so I'm going to pinch a little bit of clay out. So I have two eyes. That's looking good. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch off a bigger piece of clay and we're going to make our nose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a meatball, a big meatball. And then I am just going to flatten one side with my hand and pinch the other side. And I'm going to keep on pinching till I get, what shape is it? A triangle. And I'm just going to pinch the corners until I get like a nice triangle for a nose. That looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put these aside. As these are aside, they're going to dry a little bit and then we'll come back and paint them. So now we are going to paint our polar bear. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to paint our polar bear white. So I'm going to use my bigger brush and I'm just going to paint my polar bear white. I'm not painting the little rainbow in the ear. I'm going to go around my snout as well. So I just roughly painted that white. Didn't do the snout, didn't do the inside of the ears. Now without even washing my brush, I'm going to start putting blue in our background. But I want our background to be a light blue, so I'm going to paint it on top with the dark. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash my brush out and dry it on the paper towels. And then I'm going to take some white and I'm just going to work some white into that blue and move that blue down the canvas. So we're actually going to get like a light blue. I'm going to take my time, go around your polar bear. If you get a little in your polar bear, that's okay. I'm just going to keep on adding more white because there's a lot of blue on there. So just add more white as you're painting. And it's okay if it's all different kinds of shades of blue. went over my ear a little, that's okay. Once I have a good amount of light blue on my polar bear, I'm going to wash my brush out again. And I'm going to continue using that bigger brush. And right now we're going to make a little pink. I'm going to continue using my brush and I'm going to make a little gray right now. So I found the cap of one of my paints and I'm going to just put a little bit of white in it. Then I'm going to put a teeny tiny bit of black. So I get a super light gray. And this light gray, what we're going to do with it needs to be super light. You're just going to take small strokes and put like texture all over. I'm going to do it a little darker so you guys could see it a little better. But I'm just putting small little dabs of paint. I'm gonna put some in my ear. If you get a little blue in the polar bear, that's okay. Because blue looks similar to gray. So this is gonna just give it texture so it looks like it's covered in fur. So it's a mixture of like blue and gray in there. All right, so next I'm gonna wash my brush. And in another cap, I'm gonna take some red and I'm gonna add a little white to it. And I wanna make a pink. So once you have a pink, what we're gonna do, you're gonna paint the inside of the ears pink. And if you need your smaller brush for that, go for it. I'm going to paint my snout pink. And I'm going to paint my inside my ear over here. The pink is just our chance to add a little color. All right, so I'm going to let that dry. As that's drying, I'm going to take my little brush and I'm going to find my nose and my eyes. So what I'm going to do, and this is going to get a little bit messy, is I'm going to paint my nose and my eyes black right now. The clay, you could wait a day to have the clay dry fully, but I know you probably don't want to wait, but I am just going to paint it black. So your fingers will get a little messy, but that's okay. We like getting messy. So make sure when you paint the eye, you kind of like get all the sides as well. All right, so I have my two black eyes, my black nose, and I'm gonna let those dry for a little bit. I'll let them dry over here. I'm gonna move my canvas back. I'm gonna let my canvas dry for like about 5 minutes, and we'll come back and start adding some details. We let everything dry for a bit, and now we're gonna start adding details. So you're gonna find your small brush, and our main details that we're gonna add is in our sky, we're gonna add some snowflakes. So I'm just gonna take my little brush and I'm gonna put a little bit of white paint, and in my sky, I'm just gonna make a whole bunch of snowflakes. And how I'm gonna make them is I'm gonna make an X. And then I'm gonna put a line going through it and the other side. So I'm gonna just make a whole bunch of asterisks for snowflakes. And if your background isn't totally dry, you'll see like they'll turn light blue, but that's okay. So I'm just going to put some snowflakes all around. After I put a bunch of snowflakes like that, I'm going to use the back of my paintbrush. I just put a little white in it, and I just put dots all around to make snow. And we also have those gems that we're going to put in our background as well. Alrighty. So at this point, you're going to need to find some glue because we're going to start gluing our eyes and our nose on, and then we'll glue some gems and we'll give it a little bit of clay detail, and then we are fine. We are finished. So I am actually going to pack up my paints right now, and while you find your glue. So go find some glue. It could be a glue stick, it could be Elmer's, anything you have. It could be glue stick, it could be Elmer's, anything you have. Alright, so I am back. I have my glue, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue my nose on. So my nose should be pretty dry, and I'm just going to place my nose down. Doop, doop, doop. Looking good. And then I'm going to place my eyes down. And I'm putting a dot on the canvas. I think that'd probably be the easiest thing to do. So I have my eyes, my nose. While I have my glue, I'm just going to take some gems, and I'm going to glue some gems in our background. So I'm just going to put little dots of glue, various places. I'm not going to go too crazy. So I have my gems, I have my glue. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my clay again. You just want to make sure your hands are clean for this step. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 tiny little meatballs. All you're going to do is make 2 tiny little meatballs and put them in your eye to give it a little light reflection. So I have 1 in each eye. Make sure they're going towards the same side. Need to even that one out. I'm flattening that one. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a worm. And whatever side you have those light reflections, you're going to take that little worm and put a little reflection of that worm in your polar bear. So once you have your nose on and your eyes on, I'm going to add one last detail with paint. So I know I said pack up your paints, but if you get your black paint, or if you have a black Sharpie, what you could do is take a little bit of black paint on your little brush, and from your nose, you're just going to make like a straight line going down to make his little mouth. And there you have your polar bear. So it's still pretty wet, so you need to probably let it dry for like the glue will dry in about an hour, but the clay will really be dry by tomorrow. So just let all that dry, and then you could hang it in your room or hang it somewhere for winter decorations. All right, I hope you guys had fun making this mixed media polar bear with me.